Welcome to the most famous wedding in the world, the marriage of His Royal Highness Prince William of Wales to Catherine Middleton. Broadcast around the globe to a staggering 2 billion viewers, this is your own, very special invitation to the great day and the inside story on what made this one of the most anticipated events of the new millennium. As William and Kate and their families rejoiced, so too did the world. The wedding guests started to arrive at the historic Westminster Abbey as early as 8 a.m. The Abbey dates back to the 10th century, and famously, it's where numerous royal weddings and funerals have taken place over the centuries.
What a fabulous day to be here in London. The entire world is watching. Something like 2 billion people watch this on television, on the internet, more than any other event, forget royal event, any event in history, tuned in to watch William and Kate get married today and that very famous balcony kiss.
Oh wow indeed. On a day full of images of great happiness, this was the happiest.
It's a really exciting atmosphere here. I think people are very proud to be English. You're seeing a lot of nationalism, a lot of Union Jacks displayed everywhere, and of course the large contingent of Americans and people from all over the world who have come to celebrate this very, very special couple.
And there he is,
Yeah.
Elton John and David Furnish, close friend of Princess Diana's. They met in 1981 when he performed at Prince Andrew's 21st birthday party at Windsor Castle. I think they danced the Charleston together, didn't they? Seem to remember.
And I suppose that glimpse of Sir Elton John, of course, will bring back very many memories, of course, when he played and sang at the funeral of Princess Diana. Much in the thoughts of many, of course, on an occasion like that, like this today. And a great view of the pair of them. They look very happy, don't they? Baby Zachary's obviously been left in the safe hands of the nanny today, but a smile and a wave for the crowds.
No musical tribute from Sir Elton today, but I think it was George Michael, in fact, that provided the musical tribute. He's recorded a song which you can download. Apparently he says that it's not a publicity stunt, it's a genuine gift. He's done the Stevie Wonder hit, You and I.
Alongside us still are three dress designers, and Ben DeLisi, if I can just pick up with you as we see Sir Elton entering the Abbey there. This is a great day for British fashion, isn't it? I mean, away from all the talk of the wedding dress, I mean, what a spectacle as a designer based in this country. What do you contemplate on a day like this?
It's going to do an incredible job for the fashion industry within Britain, and I think for the country. I mean, with the economic situation the way it is, it's great for us to have something happy to look forward to.
Definitely.
If she does indeed choose Sarah Burton, I think it's an incredible accolade for late Alexander, and I think a label of that sort, I think, is a real boost for the industry at large.
Well,
really.
Bearing in mind that as Alex Salmond arrives,
And indeed Peter Robinson alongside him too, many of, and also Karen Howell-Jones, First Minister of Wales, and we're just seeing very many of the politicians starting to file in. We just spotted a little earlier, as Mary mentioned, the Speaker of the House, John Bercow, and his wife Sally, all being greeted by the vergers in the Abbey. And in fact, there's a view of the Dean of Westminster. We just saw him appearing behind a pillar as our camera caught him there, and a great day, of course, for him, because he'll be conducting the service. And there indeed, Sir John Major and his wife Norma, of course. What a great view of the pair of them as they're directed to the appropriate place in the Abbey. former Prime Minister Sir John Major, who was made a special guardian of the young princes after the death of their mother. And that is the reason that Clarence House has put out the particular reason for the invitation that's been extended to Sir John Major and his wife.
Yes, no Tony Blair today, no Gordon Brown.
No, and that is why that particular bit of information has been presented and presented very clearly, that he has a special place in the lives of the young princes and helped to guide them and form that sort of a close circle of advisors to help the young princes after the death of their mother. There we can see Tara Palmer-Tompkinson. She is one of the key socialites that fashion watchers will have been anticipating to see what she would be wearing. And there she is in a glorious royal blue, and that is her sister, Santa Sebag Montefiore. And there is Cardinal Cormac Murphy O'Connor, one of the clergy who's been invited alongside the Archbishop of Westminster, Vincent Nichols, and a great view through the shoulders of the military of Tara Palmer-Tompkinson.
If you're wondering what the connection is, her family are very close friends of Prince Charles.
That's right.
The families, they've been skiing together many times.
I just caught a glimpse of Earl Spencer. There he is, right in the middle there.
Yes.
And he, of course, is going to, he's accompanied by his quite new fiancée,
yeah.
Karen Graham.
They're often quite new.
Yeah, well, there's always a new one along. A new one will be along shortly, as they say.
Yeah.
Gosh, that was rather rude, wasn't it? But I'm sure they'll be terribly happy. Anyway,
but a
there
lovely
he is.
hat.
Yes,
Matching
gorgeous
the outfit
hat.
That is.
perfectly.
She's a former model, isn't she?
Yes, she is.
And rather elegant and beautiful. She might have gone translucent, though, perhaps, Stephen. We could have seen a little more of her, perhaps.
Yeah, well, she's got translucence on the edge of the brim, but the hat itself is opaque.
Yeah. Now, we have Diana's nieces, don't we, at the back?
Also
It's Lady
new.
Kitty, Lady
yes,
Amelia.
yes, they all look gorgeous.
Spencer
They all look
girls.
so similar as well. If you look at their faces, you can really pick them out.
They're very pretty girls.
Yeah.
They look not unlike Chelsea Davy, actually.
No,
bizarrely.
not at all.
Interesting, isn't it? And they, of course, are all based in South Africa.
Yeah, so
All
they've
of
come
those
over
girls.
especially.
Yes. And so there's Earl Spencer right in the middle there. And I believe he has 6 children now.
Nods of acknowledgement for the Prime Minister, who we heard from a little earlier on, speaking in the garden of Downing Street, naming this as a day of great celebration for Britain.
And the morning suit, after all,
And
didn't go for the lounge suit,
beautiful
sensibly.
emerald dress there, worn by Samantha Cameron. She knows only too well, as a woman who's often noted by fashion aficionados, that all eyes would be on her very firmly at this point to see what decision she'd made. And again, that sort of emerald green featuring with some beautiful beaded band in her hair almost. I'm just trying to get a glimpse of it, but the most striking of necklaces and an orange shawl carried there and greeted by the Dean of Westminster, the very Reverend Dr. John Hall, who'll be conducting the service later. And catch from the side view there is Guy
Guy
Ritchie,
Ritchie, isn't it?
indeed, a film director and former husband, of course, of Madonna. And apparently a good friend of the royal couple, and he's just disappearing there briefly, but there is Guy Ritchie, going to find his seat at the back as well, and we'll take you from that view inside the Abbey to my colleague Mark Austin, who was offered a glass of wine on the Mall a little earlier. Mark, I do hope it was the only one. A champagne, of course. What else?
It was.
What else?
Champagne it was, yeah, it was champagne. Well, unfortunately, I've been rather unceremoniously kicked off the Mall. So we've sort of fought our way down through the crowd to just outside Buckingham Palace, where there's an enormous crowd, I have to say, and growing all the time. Although I've got to say, walking down the Mall, it was about sort of 8, 9, 10 deep. I was thinking perhaps 20, 30 deep when I arrived this morning. But they're still very large crowds, don't get me wrong, but I was thinking maybe the Mall would be more packed. So anyway, we're right outside the palace now, and there's people here who are waiting for the big moment, of course, and that is when the royal couple get onto the balcony. There's more drink here, more champagne. Is that more champagne? You've been drinking champagne? I've been drinking champagne.
Wine. You name it, we've had it.
Yeah, actually, it's not champagne, is it?
No, this is vodka and Red Bull, this is.
Vodka and Red Bull. We can't advertise Red Bull. No, we can't. No. I've had no. I really wouldn't. No, I really wouldn't. So why have you come to
watch the kiss. Watch the big kiss.
The kiss.
The kiss.
Yes.
It's got to be better than Di and Charles, isn't it?
Yes, it wasn't a very good kiss, was it? It was sort of a bit of a sort of peck. But,
Bit more
yes.
This will be passion.
You want a bit of passion this time
Yeah,
with a kiss.
and we're going to get it. We will get it.
You think so?
Yes, definitely.
Do you think they're a passionate couple?
They're a lovely couple. Fantastic.
What do you like about them?
Everything. They're just down-to-earth people, just like we're all here today, down to earth. Fantastic.
And do you think they'll be good for the monarchy?
Oh, definitely, yes. Yes.
Reinvent Monaco.
Yeah.
Vodka and Red Bull to that, then.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what Will's drinks, vodka and Red Bull.
Oh, just yeah. I think we've got to stop advertising.
It's where the Middleton family live and where Kate grew up, Bucklebury in Berkshire, a new destination on the tourist circuit. Kate Garraway is in one of the pubs there.
Let me tell you, there's no prouder party in the land than the bash here at Bucklebury in Berkshire, because of course, for everyone else, this is a great day of joy for a princess-to-be and a queen-to-be, but for the 2,000 residents here, it's the wedding of a neighbour and a friend, and like every village in the land, everyone knows everyone. Kingsley Glover here went to school with Kate.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, and you were in the very play that, of course, we now think is very portentous, because she talked about marrying Sweet William and marrying her prince.
I know, mad. I mean, it was quite sort of, when you see it back, you know, I mean, we were only 12 or 13 or something, and then there's the gypsy who says that there's the prophecy of the William will come from London and take her away and all this sort of thing, and you watch it back now and you think, oh my goodness, that's quite odd, isn't it, really?
And you were a policeman in the play, weren't you?
I was.
Did you grow up to be a policeman?
No,
right,
I didn't.
So it wasn't a cast iron guarantee.
No, I'm not going to be arresting him today, it's fine, no.
What was she like at school?
Well, I mean, she was quite quiet, I suppose, really. I mean, she was very good at sports. She used to play hockey. She was in the swimming team. She was also in the school choir. I remember we used to do the Christingle service in Pangbourne, the local village, as well every year. So quite a bit of that. And also with the drama as well.
Yes, but you were in a way quite surprised that she has become...
Amazed. I mean, I remember the first time I heard about it, I was actually just in a pub and I met an old school friend and he just said, you know, have you heard about anyone from school? And we just got chatting. And then he said, oh, didn't Catherine do well? I said, did she? Well, what's she up to now? And he told me, she's on the floor, you know?
She certainly did, yeah. Listen, we've been looking around there and it's such a wonderful place to bring up children here. It must be lovely for Kate growing up. And you guys live here and you're the neighbour of the Middletons, aren't you? Do you often see them around and about?
We often see them about, in the post office, walking the dog, and poor woman had to go behind me in the post office with loads of my eBay parcels, but she was so lovely. She was just really nice about it.
And you boys, Ben and Joe, you've actually seen her, haven't you? Yes. And you plucked up the courage to speak to her then. What did you say?
I asked her if she'd be queen when she's older. And that was just so embarrassing. I just pointed out, I said, look, that's Prince William's girlfriend. And this one said, are you going to be queen then? And I thought, I was just mortified, but she was lovely, actually.
Did you think she was pretty?
Yeah.
Well, it's too late now. Prince William's got up. She couldn't wait for you any longer. But the celebration is going to be going on here all day.
But of course, many people were wondering at the time how Prince William was getting on. Mary Nightingale at ITN News had some answers.
I have with me Paddy Harverson, who is Communications Secretary at Clarence House, who is the man absolutely at the centre of these last few months of preparations and planning. How are you feeling today? How's
Very
it all gone?
excited, and relaxed. I think the planning's gone well. We're all here, the crowds are here, the weather's holding on, so it's fantastic.
And tell me about the Prince. How's he doing this morning?
He's great. I mean, he's had breakfast with his brother and their friends, and I was with him last night. We were in the press office at Clarence House, and he rang up, said, I want to go outside and meet the crowd. So we all piled out, and it was just fantastic, a lovely spontaneous thing. He wanted to go and say thank you to everyone for coming along and queuing up overnight. So he's in great form.
Not nervous at all, do you think?
No, I'm sure he is now, but certainly last night he was in great form. Yeah, really good.
This event has been, a few years coming, hasn't it? We're just seeing the Speaker and his wife, John Bercow and his wife, just arriving at the Abbey, and they're just going in the north door right now. But to return to you, Paddy, this event has been a long time in the planning, hasn't it? And the Prince has been very clear that he didn't ever want to rush into anything. He wanted to give Kate the chance to consider everything that she was getting herself into. How much of a concern has that been for you all?
Well, we take our lead from him, from Prince William, and right from the beginning he's wanted to go at his own pace. He's his own man, and she is her own woman, and between them they've worked out their future together, and they brought it to us. We didn't know it was coming for the engagement. We've had a relatively short amount of time to plan the wedding, but they've been in charge from the start. So this whole thing has their personal stamp on it, especially the service. I think people will find it really moving, beautiful. It will be their day, their moment.
And Kate, of course, is going to be embraced by the British people, isn't she? And we're already seeing her emerging more and more as a personality in her own right. And
yeah, she's a lovely, lovely person, yeah. And I think people will get to know her, obviously, over time. But she's just really wonderful, and they're a great couple together, and that's the real strength of it.
Huge undertaking for her, and for them both, of course.
It is, but you know, they have the courage and strength, and the love for each other will enable them to do that.
Your job's going to get a lot different now, isn't it? Because you're going to be dealing with the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, of course.
Indeed.
So we have new names, the Countess of Strathearn, is
That's
that
right,
correct?
yeah.
And new challenges, I suppose, associated with that in terms of communications, in terms of image and so on.
Yes, but I think actually it's not too difficult. You know, new members of the family have come along before, and I think the family rallies around, and I think we'll find that they'll get a lot of support from both their families and from the institution of the monarchy, and I think they will manage it really well, and we'll just be there to support them.
So it's fascinating to be standing just metres from St Paul's Cathedral, which is of course where Prince Charles and Princess Diana married in 1981, and to think about how different the wedding between Prince William and Kate Middleton is, and that was a very conscious decision by the royal family.
But what about royal weddings in the past? The British have always had the monopoly on extraordinary pomp and ceremony, and nowhere has that been more manifested than in their weddings. As far back as the marriage of the Queen Mother Elizabeth Bowes-Lyons to the future King George VI in 1923, when film had not long been invented, ordinary people gasped in amazement and wonder at the grandeur and beauty surrounding the royals' big day.
The joyful procession up the Mall, the bridal pair received a welcome which came from London's very heart. Right up to the very gates of the palace itself, the coach seemed borne along on wave after wave of cheers.
The marriage of their daughter, the future Queen of England, Princess Elizabeth, to Philip Mountbatten, was the first royal wedding to be televised with full commentary. The date was November the 20th, 1947.
Onto the famous balcony came the bride and bridegroom. Another historic record was yet to come, as in the throne room of the palace, the bride and bridegroom appeared before the cameras. The princess was now seen in the full splendor of that exquisite pearl-encrusted wedding gown, which has truly been described as something out of a fairy tale. Now the bridesmaids and the two small pages, Prince Michael of Kent and Prince William of Gloucester, whose activities gave added sparkle to a brilliant setting. Princess Margaret herself was a vision of loveliness in her bridesmaid's dress. The King, the Queen, and Queen Mary all reflected the joy of the occasion as they took their places in a memorable group. And so to the last chapter in a day of golden memories, as in the gathering dusk, the royal couple prepare to start on their honeymoon journey. Gathered in the palace forecourt, their Majesties and Princess Margaret joined in saying bon voyage to the bridal couple, pelting them with rose petals as their carriage moved away. A leave-taking in which their Majesties' good wishes were united with those of their people. May the present happiness of our princess and her sailor husband grow ever deeper with the years to come.
was to be another 13 years before the Queen's beautiful young sister, Princess Margaret, was to tie the knot to society photographer Anthony Armstrong-Jones, later known as Lord Snowdon. The wedding day was the 6th of May 1960, and it made headlines all around the world. A few years earlier, Princess Margaret had caused huge controversy amongst royal circles. It was when she almost married Group Captain Peter Townsend, her father's equerry. At the time, as a divorced man, many felt that Townsend was an unsuitable husband for the Queen's sister, and the Church of England refused to countenance the marriage. So Margaret, under pressure, abandoned her plans to marry Townsend and accepted the proposal instead of the photographer Anthony Armstrong-Jones. And it was to be yet another 13 years again before royal fans would rejoice in another wedding celebration. This time it was the turn of the Queen's daughter, Princess Anne, who married Captain Mark Phillips on November 16th, 1973.
I, Anne Elizabeth Alice Louise.
I, Anne Elizabeth Alice Louise.
Take thee, Mark Antony Peter.
Take thee, Mark Antony Peter.
To my wedded husband.
To my wedded husband.
To have and to hold.
To have and to hold.
From this day forward.
From this day forward.
For better, for worse.
For better, for worse.
For richer, for poorer.
For richer, for poorer.
In sickness and in health.
In sickness and in health.
To love, cherish, and to obey.
To love, cherish, and to obey.
Till death us do part.
Till death us do part.
Bride and groom now kneel down.
O eternal God, creator and preserver of all mankind, giver of all spiritual grace, the author of everlasting life, send thy blessing upon these thy servants, this man and this woman, whom we bless in thy name.
And of course, the most flamboyant and some would say best-loved royal wedding of them all was that of the current heir to the British throne, Prince Charles, to Lady Diana Spencer in July 1981. But this time, the 3,500 guests were at St. Paul's Cathedral, and 2 million spectators lined the route of the bridal procession from Clarence House. Lady Diana arrived at the cathedral in the glass coach with her father, Earl Spencer. The carriage was too small to comfortably hold father, daughter, and the dress and train. She made the 3.5-minute walk up the red-carpeted aisle with a sumptuous 25-foot train behind her. During the wedding vows, Diana accidentally reversed the order of Charles' names, saying Philip Charles Arthur George instead. She did not, however, promise to obey him. That vow was left out at the couple's request, causing a sensation at the time.
I, Diana Frances.
I, Diana Frances.
Take thee, Charles Philip Arthur George.
Take thee, Philip Charles Arthur George.
To my wedded husband.
To my wedded husband.
To have and to hold.
To have and to hold.
From this day forward.
From this day forward.
According to God's holy law.
According to God's holy law.
and thereto I give thee my troth.
And thereto I give thee my troth.
Charles' younger brother, Prince Andrew, the current Duke of York, married the ebullient Sarah Ferguson in 1986 to scenes of great excitement.
The dress is in ivory silk Duchess satin. Its bodice embroidered with the thistle and bees from her new coat of arms. The train, all 17.5 feet of it, has hearts and anchors and waves on it, and a big A for Andrew. Prince William, walking with measured tread and then tucking his head down, led the pages and bridesmaids. The new Duke of York was looking thoroughly confident. But when it came to negotiating the steps, the dress and train proved pretty difficult. A hazardous passage.
And a young Prince William had an early starring role. And remarkably, 25 years later, Prince William, along with his brother Harry, makes his way to another very special wedding, only this time it is his own.
In 1981, Princess Diana and Prince Charles was all about creating that idea of a fairy tale. So everything from the dress to how Diana arrived at St. Paul's Cathedral and all of the way that the wedding was presented by the royal family. Now, obviously, we all know what happened to that fairy tale. It didn't happen, it ended very quickly. So it's been very important for the royal family this time around to make it clear that they're not trying to push the idea of some sort of fairy tale wedding. This is about a wedding between two ordinary people who love each other.
What a great view there of the Palace of Westminster.
Mother of the bride now arriving in through Parliament Square.
So now we can see Carol Middleton's Jaguar just approaching, and Celia, the imagination that must have gone into trying to work out what the mother of the bride was going to wear today.
Oh my goodness,
what a stress.
The column inches that there have been. She's apparently changed her mind several times. There have been milliners and designers very upset, supposedly. So we all want to know what it is. What you know, what took so much stress?
Well, we saw a glimpse of pale blue as she got into the car.
Bluey grey, yes.
Bluey grey, and a broadish brimmed hat,
But quite simple, very elegant, understated.
She's a very elegant lady,
Yeah.
isn't she?
And she'll want to show off her legs, which are, you know, these wonderful. There they are.
Yes, very pretty.
Oh, that is beautiful. Beautiful, very structured, nipped in at the waist. They've all got these fabulously slim waists, haven't they?
They really
With a
have.
nice
And
bit
this
of
is
detail.
This is Catherine Walker, we're
Catherine
told.
Walker. Quintessentially British choice. Lovely detail on the cuffs and at the front there.
A great favourite of the Princess of Wales, of course, Catherine
Absolutely.
Walker, wasn't she?
It was Catherine Walker who transformed her.
Carol Middleton, of course, arriving at the Abbey with her son James, who is reading at the wedding.
Straight to Her Majesty the Queen, who is about to arrive.
She's wearing an Angela Kelly designed single crepe wool primrose dress with hand sewn. I'm doing it again with hand sewn beading at the neck in the shape of sun rays.
Enter into the sound of the Sovereign's fanfare, played by the trumpeters of the Household Cavalry. Waiting for her, along with the Archbishop and the Bishop of London, the father of the groom, who gives his mother a kiss. The four of them will now process up the aisle and take their seats, and when they sit down, that, we're told, is the moment that Catherine Middleton will leave the Goring Hotel.
The first sighting of the new royal bride was when she left the luxury Goring Hotel, where she had stayed the night before with the whole Middleton family.
And there's a veil, and there is Kate Middleton. We can see that the train of the dress helped into the rear of the vehicle, lace surrounding Kate Middleton's neck and the veil.
The doorway to the hotel had been covered with a special canopy to protect the prying cameras from seeing the dress before Kate's arrival at the church.
That bouquet is very similar, isn't it? Matching the design, Shane Connolly's design from inside the Abbey with Lily of the Valley. We know that there'll be a sprig of myrtle in there, the original bush that there was a sprig of myrtle in Queen Victoria's wedding bouquet, and they planted a bush from that, and all the royal brides since then have had a little clip of myrtle put into their bouquet.
Well, they're alongside her.
Is that a long? How long does that look? They seem to be hauling a bit of a train
into the car,
It's
and
longer.
a great view there of the proud father, Mike Middleton, as he adjusts his jacket. A reassuring pat on the arm for his daughter.
Lily of the Valley on his lapel.
Last night, Catherine Middleton spent the night surrounded by her family in a hotel they'd booked out, full of love and warmth, and we know that Princess Diana had her dinner on her tray along the road in Clarence House with Her Majesty the Queen Mother, but a woman who was in her 80s, you know, pretty old, and alone, not with her parents, not with her sisters. And of course, all that makes a difference. And of course, Diana was so young, 20, and you have Kate Middleton, who's nearly 10 years older, well educated, very stable, very confident. I think this morning we saw a bride who's going to be very happy in this royal family.
And indeed, the bridesmaids emerging from the Goring Hotel, and don't they look absolutely beautiful? Ivory little gowns with what looks like a sort of champagne bow at the back, the tiniest of them there.
Those little
Grace Van
bouquets
Capsen.
that they're wearing are designed and made by Shane Connolly.
2 Daimler motor cars loaded up with the bridesmaids.
Pippa Middleton in a beautifully sleek, elegant dress.
The little bridesmaids could have been bridesmaids over the last 10, 15 years. Classic, traditional little girls' dresses.
She looks fantastic.
Pippa looks amazing.
They look like they could misbehave too. It's going to be interesting.
Apparently they're going to be taken away. The littlest ones might be moved away.
Well, we're hoping for a bit of misbehaving, aren't we?
We like that.
everybody standing here behind us, the million people lining the route, all wanted that shot of the dream princess.
Yeah.
And we've only seen a glimpse so far of what she will
But
be
she
when
hasn't
gets
let
out
us
of that
down,
car.
has she?
But absolutely, she hasn't let us down.
So a beautiful bodice.
Lace, that
of
sort of
lace.
pure lace it looks like.
It looks
to me.
very similar
elegant
to
look.
Princess Grace of Monaco's. Do you remember that very
I
famous
do.
dress?
Yes.
That a lot of people
Indeed.
have taken inspiration from, and it's
And the
very
most
appropriate.
delicate of veils.
And I
we
wonder-
can still see
and I-
her beautifully, can't we?
I wonder whose tiara she's wearing. I wonder if that's not the Spencer tiara.
Yes, I'm still waiting for information
don't know.
on that tiara, yes.
This is when the British come into their own. We have all the equipment. We have the household cavalry. We have the wonderful carriages. We have those ancient Rolls Royces. And there's a great spirit here. A spirit I think you could say was evocative of 1981 and the wedding of Prince William's parents, Charles and Diana. There's a real enthusiasm for it.
Let's listen to the crowd as she arrives at the Abbey.
It's 11 o'clock, the bells are ringing. And these are the last few moments when Kate Middleton will be Kate Middleton.
Miss Kate Middleton.
She is wearing brand Alexander McQueen. It is a wedding dress that has been designed, as was speculated, by Sarah Burton. So if you imagined a fairy tale princess and her dress, is that the picture you had in your mind? I think perhaps it might have been.
It is the sight, after all these months of build-up and speculation, that many have been longing for. And she's taking a moment to give the crowd a wave.
Her team have said that the dress epitomises timeless British craftsmanship by drawing together talented and skilled workmanship from across the United Kingdom.
Kate Middleton at the top of the aisle of Westminster Abbey, the place she will leave as a princess. James Mates is our guide to the service.
On the arm of her father and led by the Dean of Westminster.
William Arthur Philip Louis, wilt thou have this woman to thy wedded wife, to live together according to God's law in the holy estate of matrimony? Wilt thou love her, comfort her, honour and keep her, in sickness and in health, and forsaking all other keep thee only unto her, so long as ye both shall live? I will. Catherine Elizabeth, wilt thou have this man to thy wedded husband, to live together according to God's law in the holy estate of matrimony? Wilt thou love him, comfort him, honour and keep him, in sickness and in health, and forsaking all other keep thee only unto him, so long as ye both shall live?
I will.
It was very clever of Catherine Middleton, who has done nothing to shock or surprise us, no bad leaks, no bad stories. This is a dress she could have almost worn in her local parish church out in the country. A beautiful dress, but nothing that will frighten the horses, nothing that will stun people, and she looked beautiful and very confident.
Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
The ceremony itself was virtually flawless. The only moment where there was any anxiety was when it appeared William was having a difficult time getting Kate's wedding band on her very, very slim fingers. I think that was possibly because they were shaking at the time rather than the fact that the ring didn't fit.
This ring I do wear. This ring I do wear.
Up where you passed through the screen into that top bit of Westminster Abbey, you did feel that William and Kate, surrounded as they were by clergy, not by their family, were on their own, getting married. And it was a very traditional service, one that goes on up and down Protestant churches all over the world.
From what I hear bubbling under the surface, Kate and William called the shots on this wedding. From the trees that lined the aisle in the Abbey, to the music, to the way the vows were written, how the reception is going to be orchestrated tonight. It's all about what they want.
All around the Abbey there were lilies of the valley, which of course the bride carried in her bouquet, and the smell, I went to Westminster Abbey last night, fantastic. And all these white, off-white, cream flowers, roses, wisteria, everything, absolutely all over the Abbey with loads and loads of candles, many more candles than they usually use. Stunning. The trees were an idea concocted between Catherine Middleton and Shane Connolly, who did the flowers. And the trees softened the Abbey and made it look like a tree-lined avenue. And I'm afraid it has set a trend. I think many brides will be saying, ah yes, I want trees for my wedding. The most closely guarded secret of them all has been the wedding dress designer. In the end, it turned out to be British designer Sarah Burton from the House of Alexander McQueen. Its price tag, allegedly $400,000. Inevitably, there had to be comparison with Princess Diana's wedding dress.
If you look back at Diana's gown, it wasn't Diana, was it? It wasn't a great dress. And we read reports, didn't we, years later, that she didn't think so either.
You know, there was just so much media interest and all wanting to know what the dress was going to look like, and of course we couldn't say anything. But every night they would rummage through the rubbish to see if they could find bits of fabrics or threads, and we used to leave bits of different colour threads and things, just so you know, so they put them on the wrong track really. And we had to put blinds up so that people couldn't peer through the windows, and we brought in security guards, and probably a bit overzealous with it, or we probably didn't need the giant safe we got to put the dress in it every night. But you know, we felt really didn't want to risk it, and we even had a spare dress hanging up just in case somebody did discover the secret.
My opinion of the dress was that it was youthfully regal. It was modern with a classic twist to it, which was fantastic because I didn't want Kate to sort of lose touch of Kate in the whole pageantry of this occasion. And I think Sarah Burton for Alexander McQueen did a sublime job. I think the lace was so effortlessly executed. It was almost as if she had like a white tattoo all the way down her arm, and the fine buttons. And then you saw that quintessential McQueen detail on the ruff of the spine. I thought the skirt was just enough skirt for a venue like the Abbey. I think, you know, to have something slimmer with a long train, she might not have filled that space with the sort of ease as she did with this dress. But I thought she looked very, very beautiful, very exquisite, seriously polished, and it had finesse about it.
On Prince William and Kate's big day, most people were thrilled by Kate's choice of wedding dress.
It seemed to me that Kate was very much channeling Princess Grace from the minute she arrived. First of all, you'll notice the dresses are very, very similar, with a lot of beautiful Chantilly lace at the bodice.
The Irish-American movie star Grace Kelly was one of the few commoners to marry into European royal blood in 1956. At the time, Kelly and her family had to provide Prince Rainier of Monaco with a dowry of $2 million.
Prince Rainier III of Monaco and Princess Grace. As they walked down the steps of the cathedral, there was a guard of honor formed by sailors of the American fleet. And they entered their car before another naval guard of honor from the Royal Navy's ship Dalrymple.
Additionally, Kate today wore Princess Grace's perfume that she wore on her wedding day. It's by Creed and it's called Florissimo, and it was designed for Grace by her husband, Prince Rainier. I think Kate, consciously or subconsciously, wanted to remind the world that this has been done before, a commoner marrying a future king. And with Kate's lovely, slender build, her very elegant looks, I think she really was channeling the late Princess Grace in more ways than one.
I thought the dress was very beautiful, but not astounding. And in this, it shows Catherine Middleton's actual behavior all the way through. If you remember Diana's dress, it was slightly over the top, it was huge, it had the longest train of any royal bride, I think 25 feet. It was astonishing. This dress today was beautiful with amazing embroidery that you don't see very clearly on TV, but we'll all see in the photographs. And she looked lovely. It's very typical of her character, I think, very English. The whole thing looked very English.
Stepping into the spring sunshine, the new royal couple, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge.
She arrived in a car, she'll leave in a carriage. Last night she slept in a hotel, tonight she'll sleep in a palace. train into the 1902 State Landau. Decision made at 7 o'clock this morning. Dry weather, wet weather coaches. Thank goodness they went for the dry weather coaches. As the sun came out, as she arrived at the Abbey, it's now beaming down on the crowds outside the Abbey with our newly minted princess.
They look so happy, don't they? And as the state coach moves away from the west door, Mary Nightingale.
Hello, yes, we can see them moving away from Westminster Abbey in that 1902 State Landau. If it had been raining, they would have gone in a glass carriage. But how much better for everyone to be able to see them so beautifully. And the stress now, I imagine, mostly dispersed of the ceremony with all its ceremonial. And they look really quite relaxed and very happy, waving to the crowds. With those 4 Windsor Greys pulling the carriage. And they're accompanied by mounted police and what are called advance points and the first division of the captain's escort. The crowd's responding rapturously. The noise here is unbelievable, and those bells are going to toll for 3 hours. The bells are going to peal out from Westminster Abbey for a full 3 hours. So it may be a little bit difficult to hear either what we're saying or indeed thinking.
A lovely view there of the West Door of Her Majesty the Queen in conversation with the Duchess of Cornwall, and a few words exchanged too with Carol Middleton, and what a proud mother of the bride. She has been beaming at the entrance there to the Abbey, the beams matched by those on the face of her daughter.
This is the moment they can begin to enjoy, isn't it? Now, at last, you can enjoy the moments, less pressure. Lifeguards behind, Blues and Royals in the front.
And they have been rehearsing and rehearsing and rehearsing for this very moment, haven't they? At the crack of dawn the other morning, there was the rattle and a salute.
2 horses today. I'm not sure which ones they are. One's called William and one's called Catherine. William is a tall animal described by his rider, Captain James Hume, as having a good temperament and when in public, knows what's expected of him. And the horse called Catherine is said to be gentle and affectionate, but can be strong-willed when she wants to be.
The most famous milliner in the world is Irish designer Philip Treacy, and he was chosen as the hatchmaker by many of the UK's A-list. His extravagant, flamboyant and uniquely creative hats were one of the most stylish hits of the wedding.
Well, I thought that Victoria Beckham's hat by Philip Treacy was a beautiful work of art. I mean, it has to be said that Philip is the master when it comes to these creations, and they are very sculptural and very cerebral, and they have a sense of humor about them, but always exquisite when they're worn. I mean, he really does take into consideration the wearer when he designs. And another one who wore it well was Tara, and matching electric blue to match her dress. Philip, along with Stephen Jones, they did a great job. I think Princess Beatrice was also wearing a Philip Treacy hat. Perhaps a little bit much for a woman, a young woman. I mean, it was probably not age appropriate. I thought it was a great piece, but maybe on someone taller who could carry it off. I think it kind of swamped Beatrice, and I think she's a lovely girl, but I think it was a lot going on in front of her head.
Prince William looked fantastic in that sort of royals and blue red uniform, very unusual, matched the red of that carpet that went up the centre of Westminster Abbey. He looked marvellous, and the white gloves when he was waving at the crowds, he looked the dashing prince. If only he could have ridden up to Westminster Abbey, he would have been the perfect prince, wouldn't he? Oh, Harry looked amazing. Harry had a navy military uniform with more gold embroidery and gold sort of chain. Bling was it. Looked fantastic. All the medals, all the sashes, both of them, 6 foot plus, looked amazing.
Carol Middleton chose a designer, Catherine Walker, who's sadly not here anymore, and the label is run by her widower, Said. It was a very favorite of the late Princess of Wales. It was almost a sort of a dove-egged blue-grey coat with a frogging detail on the wrists and on the front, but very lean and accentuating that quintessential Middleton figure, which is very, very boyish hips and a very, very long, lean figure. I thought Carol Middleton looked sensational, really sensational. My hat goes off to her. Pippa was solitary, this beautiful figure in long bias cream to match her sister. I thought that was great, with the page boys and in the red to match William and the little flower girls. You know, I thought that was really lovely.
Interestingly, the Queen has been in her 80th year. She's been dressed by Angela Kelly, who works alongside her, and she's never looked better. As we know, she's always worn bright colours because she knows people have come to see her and she needs to stand out. But today, that yellow and the sunray pleats and the round neck that was a perfect foil for the amazing diamond brooch and the pearls and the hat, she looked A, very beautiful, and B, very happy.
It was a very brave choice for the Queen to go with a canary yellow. Not an easy colour for the British complexion, but the Queen has always danced to her own drum, and there she had it. She was the only one in yellow, and you know, great. We're coming off a season in summer, which is all about vibrant colours, tangerine, cobalt blue, which we saw on Tara Palmer Tompkinson, and then, you know, the yellow on the Queen. Great. Good for her. Cornwall chose a very new style for her, which is, she normally chooses a coat which is quite straight in its silhouette, but she chose something that was slimmer at the bottom with a kick flare, and I love the combination of that sort of platinum grey with the slight rosy peach and the applique of the metallic guipure where the junction was, that kick pleat. She looked divine as well. There were some scary moments which will remain nameless, but I think what happens in this sort of occasion is they get caught up in the whole occasion of it. And they throw caution to the wind, and they don't realize that their photographs last forever, and you choose the wrong hat, which you think you might be able to get satellite TV on, and but there you go. I think for the most part, it was a beautiful ceremony, and the guests looked stunning.
The moment that Kate and William were finally alone, after they had left the Abbey, walked up the aisle together as man and wife, they got into their carriage, and she looked at him and said, "I'm so happy." It was an absolutely beautiful moment that every bride can relate to, I'm sure. But what a special day for her to walk into that church as Kate Middleton and to leave as a princess.
More and more people filing into the sides of the Mall, bringing up further support to the back of the crowd that has now filed all the way round the monument before Buckingham Palace, covered in flags, as is, of course, the Mall. And look, people are pretty relaxed, aren't they? It's a lovely view there of the mounted police officers, the spring sunshine, making this such an easy, comfortable journey now for those who are making their way up towards the palace.
We know that the Queen is very involved in the organisation behind those balcony doors, isn't she, in the central room?
Yes, and this is pointed out to me by somebody at Clarence House, that this is the one point of the day where the Queen takes absolute charge. There is the centre room behind the balcony, and this is the point at which the Queen decides who goes out onto the balcony first, in what order, where they stand. So you can imagine this amazing sort of scene that's going on behind the curtains there, that back onto the balcony of Her Majesty the Queen, perhaps orchestrating, choreographing what happens on the balcony.
Most famous balcony in the world. First recorded balcony appearance took place in 1851, when Queen Victoria stepped onto it during the celebrations for the opening of the Great Exhibition. It was King George VI who introduced the custom of the RAF flypast.
Look at the long lenses trained on just one spot at the front of Buckingham Palace, where every single pair of eyes on the Mall will be trained too.
So we can see a twitch at the window. The French curtains, those little net curtains in the French windows, just a little bit of a twitch. Her Majesty the Queen organising everyone behind. Is everybody ready? Are you okay? How do you feel? Readying everyone for the noise. She, of course, has done it before. There's definitely movement inside.
We can see some movement there behind those curtains, and here we go.
Oh, wow, she says.
Oh, wow.
Make it so tiny.
And a lovely moment, because the Queen has allowed the royal couple some time on their own for the crowd to take that first glimpse in as they emerged onto the balcony. And now here they are joined by the tiniest of the bridesmaids, Eliza Lopez and Grace Van Cutsem. We can't tell whether there's a box, but they're getting a good view. And look, the Duchess of Cornwall thoroughly enjoying herself there alongside her little granddaughter.
Prince Harry at the other end with Pippa and James.
Two proud page boys.
Yes, the planes will definitely be up there. About 3 minutes away from the flypast. This is so perfectly timed. They get it.
Was it long enough?
It was very quick.
Was that 2 seconds, I wonder?
He may have to do it again.
That was the kiss that everybody wanted.
And there was no prompting or persuasion needed.
No.
And a beautiful shot of the new royal couple as they take in the view that they can scarcely have imagined, really. Such an extraordinary atmosphere of goodwill.
But also, what a thing for Kate Middleton, for Catherine, Her Royal Highness, now to end up on the balcony of Buckingham Palace. Who would have thought? I mean, that really is the most extraordinary fairy tale. She will have driven past it in a car or a cab or on a bus hundreds of times. And then there you are, one of the few to have stepped foot on that balcony and see what so few people see. That sea of people from that point of view, stretching right back towards...
Who would have thought it as she headed to St Andrews for her first term at university.
Exactly, St Andrews must feel a long way away.
For a degree, as most of us would simply hope for a degree.
Yes.
And she comes away with a prince.
Came away with. And an amazing shot we had a few moments ago of Carol and Mike Middleton standing next to the Prince of Wales and the Duchess of Cornwall. And this is one of those, for them, it must be one of those pinch me moments. Is this really happening?
I think we should have one more look at that kiss. I mean, it'll be shown 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times, but we've had it once.
Of every paper
we've
tomorrow.
had it live. So I think we should have a look at it again.
Told you there would be another one.
So here's the Lancaster. This is the...
That's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's so
Followed 30 seconds later by the Typhoon, used to be called the Eurofighter, one of the world's most advanced aircraft. Can fly twice the speed of sound. Today it's only doing 300 knots. Costs £90,000 an hour to keep it in the air. And the Tornado GR4s. Typhoons in the centre, flanked on either side by the Tornado GR4s.
And what a sight that was. And it's not just a sight, you can feel it, can't you? That thunderous noise, you could feel that ripple of sound as the Lancaster came through. And what a moment too for this particular royal couple and the new Duke of Cambridge.
Well, they had to get that flight past absolutely right, because they didn't want the newer planes to catch up with the older ones in the front, so it had to be perfectly timed. So there's the Spitfire, the Hurricane and the Lancaster flying off over London.
It's fitting to have these planes too, because they played such a role in the Second World War, and of course at the end of the Second World War it was on that balcony that the country celebrated, with a mall full of people as well, the final end of the war in Europe. I'm happy to see what photographers caught that final glance back.
Absolutely, we both looked at each other at the same point, didn't we, Andrew?
That was the
glance
shot
over the shoulder.
Yes. So amazing.
Just as everyone thought it was all over, 2 billion people worldwide were in for one more pretty amazing royal surprise.
And we're just take away from you there now.
It's an Aston Martin. They're in a blue Aston Martin.
Goodness, look at this.
There is a Sea King helicopter flying overhead.
A convertible Aston Martin emerging from the gates of Buckingham Palace, driven by Prince William himself. What a sight this is.
It's James Bond, it's a James Bond car. It's got learner plates on the front.
What a view the crowds are being rewarded with. It looks as though Prince Harry may have been at work on this vehicle, and we're just craning our necks to see if we can get a glimpse of them too.
And there's the sound of a Sea King helicopter flying overhead. The crew inside waving through the door as they fly overhead. Just where is their number plates? That's definitely at the work of Harry. Aston Martin Volante. And he's had a hand in that for sure.
And what a touch. What a touch on their wedding day. Extraordinary images, and the crowds here could never have dreamt they were going to get a scene like that unfolding right beneath their very noses. Amazing.
What a great moment. That's great fun, isn't it?
No, it's
really
fantastic. And I think that's indicative of William, isn't it?
It is, absolutely.
It's so typical.
Absolutely.
You know,
and the pleasure that he gives to lots of us.
And they look so happy, don't they?
They really do.
And the couple just look like you're meant to look when you're in love.
Wonderful. What an extraordinary image. And we've been given a hint that they may make a journey in a surprise vehicle, and I never dreamt that it might be quite like that.
as the world catches the final glimpse of William and Kate as they disappear into their own very special sunset, all that's left to do is to wish them all the luck and love in the world on this very historic day.